Hey guys, MasakoX here. This video, we're not going to be talking about Dragon Ball per se. We are going to talk about a certain Saiyan. A lovable Saiyan, with a lovable butt, that you might recognize from my Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 playthroughs. I am of course talking about my custom character, Paata. Now you may know Paata just from my playthroughs, and you might consider him to be an OC, do not steal. But Paata, named after potato because Saiyan puns, actually has a lot of history behind him. I actually came up with Paata many years ago in a Dragon Ball Z D&D campaign with my old pal Vegeta3986 and our buddy Lioncourt. We played over Skype and generally every few days. It was a lot of fun. For months we campaigned through the trials and tribulations of all the sagas of Dragon Ball Z leading up to the Cell Saga. I came up with a Saiyan known as Paata, and I believe that Vegeta came up with a Saiyan as well, and we just battled our way through Vegeta and Nappa, Frieza, Garlic Jr. even, and it got all the way up to Perfect Cell before work schedules and time zones got the better of us. It was really sad really, I had a lot of fun with those campaigns. After that, I kinda just forgot about Paata and moved on with all my stuff with Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and Naruto Abridged, and Kenpa Abridged. There's a lot of abridged series, there's a trend there. But at the beginning of this year, a couple of my friends from Loading Crew Crafts started a Pathfinder campaign using some people from Team 4-Star, like HBI2K and Megami33. They reached out to me as well to join them, and I'd always been interested in joining a Pathfinder campaign, so I just said, sure, why the hell not? Sounds fun. I'd only actually started dabbling in tabletop games, having longed to be in one for many years. A friend of mine started a tabletop game called Era of the Consortium, which has gone on to be actually really popular in the science fiction tabletop section. I enjoyed playing through that prototype version of the game, and it just made me yearn to be part of a group because unfortunately where I live, I don't have many friends where I can actually drive to easily and go and play a spot of D&D, Pathfinder, whatever floats your boat. I had considered doing an online campaign with friends, but again, time zones are a bit of an issue. But a chance to play with the people at Loading Crew, Team 4-Star members, and my pal X the Dark One, I couldn't say no to that one. HBI2K rolled a legitimate business gnome named Joey, Megami a dragon mage with a drinking problem named Thorn, a salty sea dog of a sailor called Garrick, played by her boyfriend Alex, Alexandria from the Loading Crew played a bounty hunter named Hanya, and her husband Stuart, who is also the boss of Loading Crew Crafts, played as the DM. It was only then that Stuart revealed to me that he and Alexandria had been working on a special type of class. A Saiyan class. Ooh, that was cool. I was excited about that prospect. It was a sort of blend between a Keymaster and a Psionics class in Pathfinder, so it was steeped in lore from Pathfinder, but it had some tweaks to keep it in the Dragon Ball universe, and it all worked out perfectly. Naturally, I wanted to play this. It was only then that I remembered Paata from back in the day, and it was a chance to revive him in earnest with my friends. It had beam attacks, power-up psionic abilities such as reading power levels. It had everything I could possibly want in a character. I wrote his name in the character sheet and it all went from there. In fact, let me show you my character sheet from where we are currently in the Pathfinder campaign. He's currently level 7 and has terrific HP, speed, strength, dexterity, and constitution. But he ain't smart, nor is he wise, and his charisma ain't the best. Thusly, he's the kind of guy that would run into battle, punch the dude a couple of times really strongly, do some kicks, loads of acrobatics, make it look really fancy, only to get hit in the face and knocked out quite quickly. Yeah, that's happened a lot more times than I'd like to admit. Oh yeah, and he also does backflips. So why am I telling you all this? Well, during the character creation stage, Stuart asked me to come up with a backstory for Paata so he could work it into the campaign and make the whole story more immersive to us. This was applying to all the characters, not just Paata. But it kind of made me think, how did Paata come to be? Then there was a chance to actually write a story, and that was an excellent opportunity to put my narrative skills to the test. I like coming up with stories, and this was a perfect opportunity to come up with something in the privacy of a Pathfinder campaign. If it didn't work out, it could just stay there. If it worked out really well, then I could share it with you, which is what I'm about to do. In manga form, thanks to the artwork of Kevin Beaver, I can present to you the origins of Paata Tarts. Ready? Let's go! It all begins with a group of Saiyan pods who had gathered together from across the universe to seek shelter after planet Vegeta was destroyed by Frieza. After finding a suitable home on the planet Zeros, they began to form townships and settle down outside of Frieza's watch. These Saiyans are far more kind-hearted than the typical Saiyan, especially after their homeworld was callously blown up. These Saiyans were desperate to stay alive. Paata's father, Yam, keeping the veggie puns going, was the leader of one such township, and for a period of time, all was well. However, the local Masik population, Masik being a Pathfinder term for human or humanoid, weren't too happy with the Saiyans settling on their planet, and over time, many Saiyans were brutally slaughtered so as to send a message that they weren't welcome. Of course, the Saiyans had some fighting spirit left inside of them, and a war broke out with surrounding colonies in which Yam led the charge. Paata, though, a strong but cowardly teenager, hid from the battle and was labelled a disgrace by his father and most of the Saiyan elders. Finally, a truce was called between the Saiyans, the Masiks, and the Sand Elves. At last, stability for the wandering warrior race. In order to satisfy the Saiyan desire for fighting and to keep them in check, the Masiks and Sand Elves established a Saiyan police force which Yam also headed. After Paata's woeful abandonment of his people, he is forced to join the police in order to make up for his cowardice. Reluctantly, Paata joins. Paata isn't a weakling though. In time, he quickly adapts to the role of a police officer. He possesses great power and rapidly rises up the ranks to become one of the force's elite patrolmen. Crime is at an all-time low thanks to the Saiyan police. During his ascension through the force, he quickly befriends and then falls in love with one of his colleagues, Sergeant Frita. Their mutual strength and respect for one another draws them closer together, and the pair are soon betrothed. However, their supposed long life together is about to be cut drastically short. One day, whilst Frita and Paata are dealing with a particularly troublesome band of rogue sand elves and desert goblins, Paata notices that the first full moon in months has started to rise. Naturally, their Saiyan blood kicks in. Their minds are clouded in an expanse of red mist. These pesky goblins have no idea what they're in for. Paata and Frita go full on Ozaru. As the rogues are pushed back, one of the bandits slices off Frita's tail, and much like what happened to Vegeta in the Saiyan saga, she reverts back to her humanoid form. Paata, however, is basking in the moonlight and is drowned in absolute rage. He doesn't notice Frita in front of him, and, without knowing, kills her with a bloody stomp. Despite the mission being completed, the Force was stricken with the loss of Frita. Paata the most of all. Although Yam and the Saiyans of the Force were quick to absolve Paata of any blame, seeing as this was a freak accident, Paata wasn't so forgiving on himself. As he stands over Frita's grave, Paata resigns his commission, has his tail removed, which is a Saiyan taboo, and heads off into the desert as part of a personal exile. Paata is keen to atone for his sins, and so begins his quest for spiritual and emotional enlightenment. Months later, he finds himself in the town of Al-Jawar Haram, also known as the Forbidden Jewel. To make ends meet, Paata took on the job of a bounty hunter. As barely anyone knew of Saiyans in this part of Zeros, Paata could go about his business with little suspicion. In fact, he was able to build a somewhat decent reputation as a bounty hunter. He comes across a local brothel in order to clean up some local drug barons, but instead finds an oracle sat in the corner. She promises to give Paata the inner peace he so longs for, if he can provide some kingdom come. A local narcotic akin to heroin, which is applied by smearing on the mouth. In small doses, it increases focus and strength, but if used too often, or if you fail a wisdom saving throw in Pathfinder, you become addicted to it. Paata obliges with her request, whilst also keeping some back for later, and receives a prophecy. He is told to look for a dragon who is being hunted by an iron squid. He can find help in the form of a dog of salt, a viola, and a smoking traveller. With this knowledge, Paata begins his adventures in the sands of Salabim. Well, that's the origins of Paata for you. Big thanks to Kevin Beaver for the wonderful artwork he put out here. I only asked him to do a few pages and lo and behold he provides me a practical manga chapter, so bravo sir, bravo. Link to his Twitter and DeviantArt page in the description. Now is the time I'd like to hear from you out there. What did you think of this? Would you like to see more? I would really love to show you more of this campaign. It's been so immersive and a lot of fun this past year. It's just such a good story to share. If you'd like to see more of the campaign playing out, do check out Loading Crew Craft's Twitch page at twitch.tv/theloadingcrew. We tend to stream once every week or 2 weeks, and if you keep an eye on their Twitter as well, you'll get updates about when they stream. Also, leave your comments below about what you think of the manga and whether you'd like to see another chapter, perhaps of Paata's tales in the Sands of Salabim, or maybe the origins of some other characters in the campaign. I'd love to know what you think, and Kevin would love to see some Frita x Paata fan art. Don't worry, Puddin and Paata is still a thing. This is an origin story, so that ship is still intact. I'm excited to see where this goes, and I'd really love to see what you think of it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. And until then, catch you later.